He had not expected to see her there. Not in this place. Not dressed so calm. Not smiling the way she smiled now. The hotel lobby glowed with warm lights and polished stone. A place built for comfort and forgetting. Laughter drifted from the bar. Shoes tapped softly across marble. No one noticed the way his shoulders locked or how his breath caught halfway out. No one noticed the quiet storm that formed between three people standing less than a foot apart. She stood straight, hands folded, eyes steady. Her voice had been gentle, almost welcoming. That was the most terrifying part. The woman beside him tightened her grip on her purse. She smelled of expensive perfume and nerves. Her eyes darted, searching for exits, for lies, for anything that could save her from the truth now staring back at her. The man could not move. He could not speak. His name echoed in his own mind, hollow and thin. Around them, the lobby kept breathing. People passed by with suitcases and coffee cups, unaware they were brushing past a moment that would split a life in two. The woman who had greeted them took a slow breath. She had learned how to breathe through worse. Her name was Amina. She had once learned to steady her hands while helicopters thundered overhead. She had learned to smile while blood soaked through gloves. She had learned to stand tall when the world expected her to break quietly. And now she stood in a hotel lobby, facing the man she married. And the woman he had hidden in the shadows of business trips and late nights. Amina's eyes took in everything at once. The curve of his jaw she used to trace with tired fingers. The stiff fear in his posture. The way the other woman leaned away from him, already planning her escape. Amina felt the old ache rise, but it did not control her. It never had. She stepped back, just enough to give them space. Welcome. The word was soft. The silence that followed was not. Long before this moment, Amina had learned what silence could do. She grew up in a house where noise meant danger, where raised voices came before slammed doors, where survival meant reading a room before stepping into it. When she joined the military as a nurse, silence became something else. It became discipline, focus, respect. She remembered the smell of metal and dust, the way the air felt heavy before dawn. She remembered hands shaking as they pressed on wounds, voices whispering names into the ears of men who might not hear another sunrise. She remembered the weight of dog tags in her palm. She remembered learning that strength was not loud. It was steady. When she came home, people thanked her for her service. They shook her hand. They smiled. Then they looked past her scars and expected her to fit back into a world that did not understand. What she had carried her husband had been there at first, or so she thought. He brought flowers. He listened to stories. He said the right things. But slowly, his attention thinned. His phone stayed face down. His trips grew longer. His eyes stopped meeting hers when she spoke about the past. Amina felt it before she knew it. The way you feel a storm in your bones. She smelled the unfamiliar perfume on his jacket one night. She noticed the credit card charges that did not match the stories. She saw the lies stacked like sandbags, poorly placed, ready to collapse. She did not confront him. Not then. She waited because Amina understood timing. The truth came to her not in anger, but in clarity. A canceled flight. A forwarded email sent by mistake. A hotel name that appeared too often to be coincidence. The hotel where she now stood, she booked a room under her own name. She arrived a day early. She watched. She listened. She learned which floor he preferred, which nights he stayed in. Which woman laughed too loud at the bar. Each detail cut, but none of them broke her. She did not cry in the lobby. She did not raise her voice. She did not make a scene. That restraint was her armor. The day she decided to meet him, she dressed simply. No jewelry. No sharp lines. Just calm, confidence, and steady breath. She took a position near the desk, where guests passed without seeing her. Where staff nodded in quiet respect. One of them recognized her. A young man who had once been patched up by her hands after a roadside blast overseas. He did not say her name. He only met her eyes and nodded. A hidden ally. When her husband walked in with the other woman, something shifted in the air. Amina felt it the way she felt in coming danger years ago. The way the room seemed to hold its breath. She stepped forward at the right moment. "Hope you enjoyed your stay, sir." She did not raise her voice. She did not accuse. She offered courtesy like a mirror, forcing him to see himself clearly for the first time. The woman beside him whispered something sharp and small. Amina did not need to hear it. Fear has a sound, even when it hides behind teeth. People nearby slowed. They sensed tension without understanding it. A few heads turned. No one intervened. Silence gathered witnesses. Her husband finally found his voice, thin and cracked. He said her name like a question, like a plea. Amina answered with her eyes. She saw the guilt crawl across his face, chased by calculation. She saw him try to regain control, turn the moment into something manageable. He failed, because control had already left him. He tried to explain. He tried to minimize. He tried to reach for her arm. Amina stepped back. That small movement spoke louder than shouting ever could. She did not owe him words. She owed herself truth. The other woman's face hardened, then crumbled. She looked at Amina with a mix of challenge and shame. Amina met her gaze without anger. This was not about rivalry. It was about respect. And respect, once broken, does not beg to be restored. Amina spoke again, her voice even. "Checkout is at noon. I made sure your account reflects your stay accurately." A ripple moved through the onlookers. A bellhop paused. A couple at the bar stopped mid-sip. The words were clean, polite, surgical. Her husband's face flushed. He realized, too late, that this was not a private argument. This was accountability in plain view. The hotel manager approached, concern etched into his posture. He recognized Amina as a long-term guest, a respected one. "Is everything all right here?" Amina nodded. "Everything is clear." Clarity settled over the space like fresh air after smoke. Her husband tried one last time to regain ground. He spoke of stress, of mistakes, of love. Amina listened. Truly listened. Then she spoke the words that would stay with everyone who heard them. "Loyalty is not a promise you make when it is easy. It is what you do when no one is watching." The line landed without force, yet it struck deep. The woman beside him stepped back. She saw now that there was no place for her in this moment. No role that ended well. She left without a word. Her heels echoed briefly, then faded. Amina did not watch her go. Her focus remained on the man who had once been her home. He looked smaller now. Not because Amina grew larger, but because truth has a way of stripping illusions bare. He lowered his head. People noticed. Silence noticed. Amina felt no triumph. Only release. She spoke once more. "I carried wounded strangers through fire. I will not carry a lie through my life." Another line, quiet and unshakable. The manager nodded, understanding more than was said. He gestured for a staff member to handle the rest. Amina turned away before her husband could speak again. Her steps were steady. Outside, the air was cooler. The city moved as it always did, unaware that something had ended and something else had begun. Amina paused on the sidewalk. She felt the familiar weight in her chest. But it was lighter now, different. She remembered the faces of those she had lost. She remembered promises made under open skies. She remembered the cost of silence and the power of choosing when to break it. Behind her, through the glass, people slowly returned to their lives. But something lingered. A sense of having witnessed honor without spectacle, strength without noise. A man near the door placed his hand over his heart as Amina passed. He did not know her name. He knew respect when he saw it. Another guest straightened, standing taller without realizing why. This was how dignity moved. Quietly later that night, Amina sat alone in her room. The lamp cast a warm circle on the wall. She breathed in the clean scent of linen and calm. She allowed herself a single tear. It fell without drama, without shame. Then she wiped it away and smiled. Small and real, she sent one message, simple and honest. To a friend who had once held her hand in a field hospital, I chose myself today. The reply came quickly. Proud of you always. Amina lay back and closed her eyes. Sleep came easy. In the days that followed, the story traveled. Not as gossip, but as something else. A lesson. People spoke of the woman who did not scream. The woman who did not beg. The woman who stood in truth and let silence do the work. Her husband faced consequences. Not just legal or social, but internal. He learned that apologies spoken to late echo forever. Amina moved forward. She volunteered. She laughed again. She wore her scars without hiding them. She had faced fire. A hotel lobby was never going to break her. Somewhere, someone watching this story will recognize themselves. In the quiet strength. In the patience. In the moment of choosing dignity over destruction. Remember this. Silence is not weakness when it is chosen. Respect does not shout to be heard in the strongest. Goodbyes are often spoken without raising your voice. If this story moved you, share where you are watching from. Tell us what silent strength means to you. And subscribe for more stories that honor the heroes who stand tall without making a sound.